Egypt produced rulers who commanded vast armies, raised monuments that have survived 4,000 years, and sat on the throne for decades at a stretch. Yet the one name nearly every person on Earth recognizes belongs to a child with a clubfoot, a fractured family legacy, and a reign that may have lasted barely 9 years. He built nothing monumental. He conquered no foreign territories. His own successors tried to erase him from the historical record. So how did Tutankhamun become the single face of an entire civilization? The answer has almost nothing to do with the boy himself, and almost everything to do with 3 accidents that collided in one narrow valley. The first accident was geological. Nearly every royal tomb in the Valley of the Kings was discovered and emptied by grave robbers within centuries of its sealing. Tutankhamun's burial chamber was unusually small, and its entrance was accidentally buried beneath tons of debris dumped during the construction of a later tomb for Ramesses VI. For over 3,000 years, the tomb sat hidden, just meters from where archaeologists had already been digging for years. The second accident was one man's refusal to stop. Howard Carter had spent 5 seasons searching the valley with almost nothing to show for it. His financial backer, Lord Carnarvon, was ready to withdraw funding. Carter convinced him to support one final season, November 1922. A worker clearing rubble beneath the remains of ancient workers' huts stumbled on a stone step, cut into the bedrock. 2 days later, Carter stood before a sealed doorway bearing the name Tutankhamun. The third accident was the press. The 1920s newspaper market was ferociously competitive, and the London Times had secured exclusive rights to the story. Rival papers, locked out of the discovery, needed their own angle. When Lord Carnarvon died in April 1923, from blood poisoning following an infected insect bite, a popular novelist named Marie Corelli publicly suggested that an ancient supernatural force had been triggered. The story detonated across the world. Newspapers printed warnings they claimed were inscribed on the tomb walls. No such inscription has ever been found. Yet the curse became inseparable from the discovery itself. When epidemiologist Mark Nelson tracked the mortality records of every person exposed to the tomb's opening, the evidence was quiet. The excavation team lived, on average, just as long as anyone else of their generation. Carnarvon's death was a tragedy, but it was bacterial, not supernatural. The curse was never ancient. It was a headline that refused to die. This pattern reaches far beyond Egyptology. We are drawn to the cursed, the mystical, the unexplained, especially when the real evidence is sitting right in front of us, telling a far more ordinary story. Tutankhamun's fame is not a reflection of his power or his achievements. It is a mirror of what modern audiences need ancient cultures to be, mysterious enough to feel safely distant from ourselves. The real Tutankhamun was a teenager who walked with a cane, who inherited a kingdom in religious turmoil, and who was buried in a hurry in a tomb that may not have been intended for him. He was not a legend. He was a child facing impossible pressure in a body that was already failing him. And the entire world remembers his name, not because of who he was, but because of a collapsed staircase, a stubborn archaeologist, and a story that sold newspapers. Fame does not distribute itself according to merit. Sometimes it is simply the accident that survived.